one of them. Right? And I could tell these three guys were troublemakers. They had energy, they had verve. They didn't want to write no poem. And so I put them together. Now, you three write together. And I gave them a very simple prompt. Write a poem about something you love. And I got this really interesting, whimsical poem. This is Eric, Grant, and Cole when they were in 5th grade. Titled Bread. They love bread. Bread, bread, bread. White bread, wheat bread, stale, soggy, moldy bread, soft, warm, cold bread. Those are just a few. Raisin bread, crazy bread, blueberry bread, too. Thin bread, thick. Don't forget cornbread. Best of all, I like French toast. These guys gave me exactly what I hoped. What a crazy, funky, surprising poem. Let's just look at it. The repetitions, the repetitions, the repetitions. Any writer would say in a creative writing workshop, be careful how many times you use the same word. You must change your language. But of course, the more you repeat the same thing, the more you create a kind of echo, a kind of oratorical echo. Really fascinating. Look at the little things that they got a little bit of rhyme, few and two. Yeah, but they rhyme bread with bread, with bread all the way through. What can you do? Yeah. Look at this, thin bread thick. Thin bread thick. I don't yet know what that means, but I love it because it makes me wonder what thin bread thick is. I just like saying thin bread thick. Because poems are sonic things. They're little musical things. And these guys innately knew that. And then, look what they do when they say, don't forget cornbread. Direct address to you, the audience. They broke the veil. They stepped out of their own poem and said, don't forget cornbread. Direct address, this ancient rhetorical device. Eric, Grant, and Cole, the ornery 5th graders, knew that. They were wired into that, not because of studying it, but because they're human. And then the delight of French toast. After bread, 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 bread. Every artist knows, what do? You set a pattern and break it. Right? You set a pattern, then break it. And that's what these guys did. All right, I'll read you one more. And, you know, it's the opposite of that prompt. I think it's a good one. I should have thrown it into the crowd.
Right. You want to get it back?
Mick might have done that. Yeah. I gave them this prompt. Okay, write about something that you don't like. And, you know, you get a lot of farcical kinds of, you know, ha-ha things. And this became to be a list poem in which you just list stuff. Now, the great thing about a list poem is it seems so simple to make. You just write down stuff. But the trick is how you order it, because you have to have a kicker somewhere, or else it's just a list, right? So I had a lot of good fortune from that, but this poem by Marissa, who was only in 4th grade, and who had had a life quite different from my kids, quite different from my own, and her poem illustrated that. So what I want you to notice is, notice how she sets up this list of things that 4th graders would either like or not like, and then notice the surprise, where it goes from the personal to something really bigger. And Marissa didn't pull any punches. She titled this, Things I Hate. All right. Vegetables with soggy bread. And now more bread. A day-old cabbage or lettuce head. Pinchy, scratchy dress shoes. When your mean old teacher yells at you big, long homework assignments, especially math. A big black cat that just sits there, look out, you'll scratch. Fat, juicy onions with little creepy warts. I hate basketball. I wonder why it's even a sport. Going to the doctor, dirty, muddy books, shoes. Ballet. I hate ballet. Those skimpy tutus. Spoiled brats that throw fits in the dirt. And gangbangers that run away from their mom. This fourth grader who was giving me this list of fourth grade stuff. Who wouldn't hate a tutu? I mean, well, I'm a guy. I guess she had the legs for it. That's the thing, right? A tutu. She hates a tutu. She hates the cat. She hates a teacher that yells at her. She hates math. In Chicago, at the time of Michael Jordan, she says she hates basketball. That's a risky, risky kid. She goes through all of these things, which are almost, I guess you could say they're age appropriate. They're concerns of someone that age. And then suddenly she says, gangbangers that run away from their mom. Plural gangbangers, single mom. All right, I'm an English teacher. I circle that. You say agreement error. Not in this poem. Because the sense that they have a singular mom, which is us, the culture. Each one has a mother. Each one has a culture that maybe they are running away from or that is not embracing them. Here you have a fourth grader who is able to talk about her world and her dislikes, and then this heartbreaking social revelation, communal revelation. No, I'm going to trip over that bad, and then you'll be able to say, I saw the poet laureate fall on his can.
I want the poet laureate falling on his can.
Yeah. All right. I'll read you some of mine. Oh, wait. No, one more thing. One of my other projects has been what I call the Poetry Now project. One of the things that I found, particularly when I was young and growing up, there was no poetry in my library, in my hometown. At least poetry that wasn't Shakespeare, whom I love. But my gosh, there are 4 centuries, between us. And so one of the things I wanted to do when I became poet laureate is I wanted to get books by Illinois poets and contemporary Illinois poets into libraries. And so I founded the Poetry Now project, which means basically this. I go somewhere, I read some poems, I talk about poetry, I talk about Illinois poetry, I get to read some youth poems, and then I make a donation to the library for the purchase of books by Illinois poets. And Rebecca Schreiner is here with us, and I'd like you to come forward and accept this donation to the Holman Library.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
The Holman Library is the 45th library, 45th Illinois library to be a participant in the Poetry Now series. If you want to see something I think is really cool, you go to the website, you click on Poetry Now, and you see a list of every library and every book purchased. And you get this sense of shelves like that, shelves with poetry books on them. So, and that's not state money, by the way, because there's no stipend and no budget for the Illinois Poet Laureate. We're broke. And I hear that temporary income tax is not temporary. Huh?